Coming up on Chapman News, bombshell videos of Chapman students partying in the pandemic, what students and administrators are saying. Another variant and another vaccine. We'll have the latest on COVID-19. And golf legend Tiger Woods recovering from major surgery. Will he ever play again? That and more on this week's edition of Chapman News.
From Dodge College of Film and Media Arts, this is Chapman News.
Good afternoon. My name is Melissa Cho. We begin the semester of Chapman News from Taipei, Taiwan. Back in Orange, countless Chapman students are facing backlash after videos surfaced of maskless parties last weekend. Jackie Gold has our exclusive story.
Several Chapman students and fraternities are under fire after two anonymous Instagram accounts posted videos of students at parties this past weekend. The accounts, Chapman.Party and Chapman Superspreaders, were created Monday night and have since gained over 2,000 followers collectively. The first content posted shows a maskless crowd of at least 75 people dancing and yelling at a house with members of Phi Delta Theta last weekend. Later, the accounts posted videos from other fraternities like Pi Kappa Alpha and Beta Theta Pi. Chapman News has reached out to all these fraternities but has not received a response. However, Chapman's Interfraternity Council President Mac Francini says IFC and Chapman administration were made aware of the parties prior to the account's creation.
A lot of the footage that we have seen on these accounts, I was aware of on Saturday night as these events were happening. We tried to get in contact with chapter leadership to stop them, but given the nature of the internet, once it was out there, it stayed out there.
The account owners, who choose to remain anonymous, have both said they started the accounts out of frustration. The Chapman Party account saying, "The past weekend was probably the final straw and really made us think about what can be done to stop these students and organizations. It was also really upsetting knowing that this is another instance where Chapman would not hold the perpetrators accountable, and we just wanted to bring attention to what was happening." They both receive content that partygoers post on their own social media accounts like Snapchat, Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok. Dean of Students Jerry Price has expressed concern over the accounts, saying they cause cyberbullying and harassment.
But the problem is they're going to be ultimately used by people who have very uncivil, disrespectful intent. I just know where they're going, and that's what concerns me.
Dean Price says disciplinary action is being taken as 3 fraternities are already under investigation. And such disciplinary action goes beyond Chapman, as Orange Police Department continues to receive reports of parties, just 6 from this weekend alone. Yet Sergeant Phil McMullen told Chapman News no gathering sizes were large enough to warrant a citation. But the question remains, what place do these accounts have at Chapman? Are they justice seekers or a product of cancel culture? Chapman Superspreader says that although they are frustrated with organizations, they are not interested in ruining the lives of individual people. Its counterpart, Chapman Party, has started a petition to encourage the university to hold students and organizations accountable, an effort that already has nearly 700 signatures. But many students and Dean Price himself still express concerns over the seemingly toxic nature of the Instagram accounts. Dean Price releasing a statement on Wednesday calling them unhelpful and unhealthy, as numerous commenters point out the harmful environment the accounts foster. It is unclear how long the accounts will continue to post content. Chapman Party maintains the accounts are necessary, saying there is nothing wrong about calling out people who have extreme privilege for putting human lives in danger. There is nothing wrong with doing your part for the community by making sure people are following the correct COVID guidelines. To report parties or large gatherings through the university, email conduct@chapman.edu. For Chapman News, I am Jackie Gold.
Thanks, Jackie. The administration, Interfraternity Council, and Panhellenic are all moving forward with disciplinary action following the postings. To follow more on this story, the Panther newspaper will be publishing more details Monday. Some good news on the vaccination front. The third vaccine, this one from Johnson & Johnson, is about to be approved by the FDA, promising a one-shot vaccination for COVID-19. J&J promises to have 3 to 4 million doses ready immediately and 20 million by the end of March. And California is moving forward quickly with its vaccinations. Currently, we are in phase 1A and 1B, meaning healthcare workers, long-term care residents, those 65 and older, agricultural workers, educators, as well as emergency responders can all be vaccinated. Beginning March 15th, high-risk individuals who are aged 16 to 64 can be vaccinated. This includes cancer patients, pregnant women, those with heart disease, and more. Healthcare providers will use their judgment to determine who is at the highest risk and who needs to be inoculated. California has administered over 7 million vaccines so far, mostly in Los Angeles and San Diego counties. Orange County comes in third in that list, with just over 600,000 vaccinations. But the U.S. is facing new variants as we await more vaccines. Michael Benifta has more.
On Monday, the U.S. surpassed 500,000 COVID deaths, a higher death toll than any other country. It's also more than the number of lives lost in World War I, II, and the Vietnam War combined. For President Biden, this was a moment of deep mourning.
So today, I ask all Americans to remember. Remember those we lost and those who left behind.
Biden wasn't alone, as thousands of families grieved the loss of loved ones, including the Morse family in Franklin, Tennessee, who lost their 6-year-old daughter to the deadly virus.
It's hard. I don't know if, I don't even know if I am coping with it yet. I wake up every day and I just try to get through the day. Everything is just, I have to get through this day. Don't worry about the next one. Just be a good mom today.
Healthcare workers, those on the front line, like Chapman's own Dr. Jerica Lamb, feel for the families as well.
Imagine just the families that are affected, losing their father, their mother, sister, brother, grandparents. I mean, it goes on, and it's just devastating.
Lamb and other experts look back on the previous administration's failures, from not aggressively contact tracing early on to politicizing the use of mask wearing.
There are many things that could have been fixed. Structural organization, better leadership from top down. Also making sure that one message is consistent and not confusing people and not politicizing this a pandemic.
But with companies promising to ramp up vaccine production and create booster shots for new variants, Lamb sees a way out.
The majority of nursing home residents have been vaccinated, as well as the caretakers. And so that demonstrates that if, there are statistics that show that as the vaccines were vamping up, the death rates were going down in nursing homes.
Despite promising moves on vaccines, states like North Dakota are taking steps against federal safety guidelines by banning mask requirements. Health experts fear that a loosening of rules, along with the more virulent COVID variants, could lead to another wave, increasing an already devastating death toll. For Chapman News, I'm Michael Benifta.
Thanks, Michael. As we look globally, we are also facing bleak landmarks in the pandemic. The total number of global cases topping 112 million this week, with 2.5 million lives lost to COVID-19. However, according to the World Health Organization, global cases continue to decline for a 6th consecutive week. In Europe, Poland lifts its quarantine requirements for people entering the country with certificates of inoculation from a European Union-approved vaccine. The Republic of Ireland has extended its restrictions to April 5th, maintaining its highest level of COVID-19 lockdown restrictions. However, primary schools are set to reopen starting next Monday. This week in Southeast Asia, both Thailand and Vietnam have received their first batches of vaccine doses, Thailand receiving its shipment of 200,000 doses from China's Sinovac, and Vietnam procuring almost 120,000 doses from AstraZeneca. South Korea's prime minister making a bold statement to the BBC this week that the country will achieve herd immunity by the fall. Although South Korea has had a slower vaccine rollout, Prime Minister Chung Se-kyung plans to have 70% of the total population dosed with the first set of vaccines produced by AstraZeneca and Pfizer by September. Coming up on Chapman News, Texans continue to struggle in the wake of the deadly snowstorm. Our Texas-based reporter gives an inside look on what went wrong. And it's Girl Scout cookie season. We meet up with a troop who's fundraising for a more personal cause. First known military action under Biden, the U.S. launching airstrikes in Syria Thursday against Iranian-backed militia after the group first attacked American facilities in Iraq. The retaliation comes as 10 days after several Americans were injured from rocket strikes on February 15th. And new this week, Trump out of isolation. The blame game continues on Capitol Hill and how the Biden administration is handling immigration reform. Barbara Fox has our political update.
Thanks, Melissa. Trump is speaking at the Conservative Political Action Committee in Florida this Sunday. Mike Pence declined the invitation, but insists he and Trump are still friends. And he plans to create an organization that supports the former president. The Conservative Political Action Committee convention will still be all about Trump supporting his claims of the election being stolen from him. A title of one panel for protection elections is called Failed States: Pennsylvania, Georgia, Nevada, oh my, while another promises a talk of how the left pulled the strings, covered it up, and even admits it. Several of Trump's allies will be in attendance, along with guest speakers like former Secretary of State Mike Pompeo, the governor of Texas, Greg Abbott, and the governor of Florida, Ron DeSantis. Trump has not yet decided if he'll run again in 2024.
The blame game continues in Congress 6 weeks after the attack on the Capitol.
Former Capitol Police Chief Stephen Son told the Senate that only this week he has learned of an FBI memo that was sent out on the eve of the Capitol attack, a memo giving an explicit warning for further violence. Son claimed during his testimony that former House Sergeant-at-Arms Paul Irving didn't want increased security because of the so-called optics. Capitol riots were front and center in Tuesday's confirmation hearing for President Biden's Attorney General nominee, Merrick Garland. Garland emphasized that he will handle issues of white supremacy.
Will supervise the prosecution of white supremacists and others who stormed the Capitol on January 6th, a heinous attack that sought to disrupt a cornerstone of our democracy, the peaceful transfer of power to a newly elected government.
Federal prosecutors have charged over 250 people involved in the Capitol riots so far, and immigration reform drawing tons of attention this week. The Border Patrol's McAllen Processing Center in Texas closed to remove large cages that were housing migrants. However, while one camp closes, a new facility is open. Critics pointing to a new facility in Carrizo Springs, Texas, which reopened to house teens who cross the border without adults. Many are criticizing the president and worried he's following Trump's strict immigration policies. However, Biden has tried to enforce a national 100-day pause on undocumented immigrant deportation, which was met Thursday with pushback from Texas U.S. District Judge Drew Tipton. Tipton indefinitely banning Biden's policy as some immigrants have been living at the Carrizo Springs camp for more than a year under former President Donald Trump's Remain in Mexico policy. However, Nancy Pelosi says that Biden's immigration bill may need to be broken up into pieces in order to get passed through Congress. AOC responds to the reopening of the facility, saying on Twitter, "It's only 2 months into this administration, and our fraught, unjust immigration system will not transform in that time. That's why bold reimagination is so important. DHS should not exist, agencies should be reorganized, ICE gotta go, ban for-profit detention centers, create climate refugee status, and more." U.S. Health and Human Services says opening Carrizo Springs will provide the beds necessary to transfer children out of the Border Patrol stations and place them with sponsors. And damages from the Texas snowstorm are being assessed, while questions are being raised about the state's infrastructure. Stephanie Parajon has more.
Thank you, Barbara. President Biden is visiting Houston, Texas today, following the deadly snowstorm. Biden, announcing a disaster declaration, gives federal funding to individuals in 77 Texan counties and includes temporary housing, home repairs, and low-cost loans for uninsured properties. While Republican Governor Greg Abbott originally requested disaster relief for all 254 counties, the administration says that they chose the hardest-hit communities.
president doesn't view the crisis and the millions of people who have been impacted by it as a Democratic or Republican issue. He views it as an issue where he's eager to get relief, to tap into all the resources in the federal government to make sure the people of Texas know we're thinking about them, we're fighting for them, and we're going to continue working on this as they're recovering.
Despite the aid, there are a growing number of lawsuits over the 80 confirmed deaths from the snowstorm. The family of Christian Pineda has filed a $100 million lawsuit against ERCOT after the 11-year-old boy froze to death in his bed during a prolonged power blackout. Abbott is back in the hot seat ahead of his 2022 re-election campaign. Critics say the governor was too slow to respond to the storm. First, he blamed sustainable energy like water and wind energy, and is now blaming power outages on the Texas Independent Power Grid. The Electric Reliability Council of Texas, also known as ERCOT, manages the flow of Texas electricity and supplies power to over 25 million Texans. But unlike the national power grid, regulated by the United States government, ERCOT is independent and was able to ignore recommendations to repair for harsh winters. Now, 6 members of the board have resigned. The disaster in the Lone Star State replicates a similar scenario Texans faced a decade ago. In February of 2011, the Texas power grid failed, leading to mass power outages. At the time, experts made recommendations to regulate the power grid, which ERCOT did not follow. A federal report issued in 2011 also found that as far back as 1989, state officials issued a number of recommendations aimed at improving winterization on the part of the generators. Analysts say that due to climate change, freezing temperatures like these will continue to occur in Texas. This is Stephanie Perjean reporting for Chapman News. Back to you, Barbara.
And Ted Cruz still under attack for going on vacation during the storm. Cruz told Sean Hannity of Fox News that the news media is only attacking him because they can no longer criticize Donald Trump. Back to you, Melissa.
Thank you, Barbara. And an 18-month court battle is over, as the Manhattan DA has received former President Donald Trump's tax returns. This as a result of a Supreme Court decision earlier this week ordering Trump to turn them over. The Manhattan DA has been conducting a wide-ranging investigation into the former president's financial affairs. A financing app is caught under fire after restricting buying and selling of specific stocks and could be held responsible for the death of a 20-year-old trader. Here's Natalie Tasha Thompson with the story.
Robinhood the character is known for stealing from the rich and giving to the poor. But today, Robinhood the financing app has done exactly the opposite. Robinhood is an online brokerage firm that prides itself on making it easy to buy and sell stocks. The app began with one goal in mind: to democratize finance by opening the market to anyone with a couple of dollars and a smartphone.
Ooh, like this guy. Yeah, I bet he's investing right now.
But like any democracy, it faces issues of freedom along the way. Vlad Tenev, the 33-year-old CEO and co-founder of Robinhood, appeared before a House committee of over 50 members this past week regarding the GameStop saga.
I believe that the decisions made by you and this company have harmed your customers.
On January 28th, Robinhood suspended the ability to buy GameStop shares for 10 days, making it so app users were allowed only to sell the company's stock. Robinhood issued a press release saying, "We continuously monitor the markets and make changes where necessary. In light of recent volatility, we restricted transactions for certain securities to position closing only." Robinhood was not exaggerating about the volatility of the GameStop stock, as it rose nearly 1,800% in the month of January alone when Reddit users determined hedge funds were set to make money on the stock price falling.
Isn't it true that being concerned about having enough capital to meet deposit requirements, isn't that a liquidity problem?
The House committee members pressed Tenev not only on the issue of closing a free market, but also explained to him that his democratization of the market turned deadly.
June 2020, Alex Kearns, who was 20 years old at the time, from Naperville, Illinois, killed himself, largely thanks to a bug in the Robinhood system. The bug was that he turned on the app, said he owed $730,000 that he did not have.
Alex Kearns' family filed a wrongful death lawsuit against Robinhood this month after the app failed to respond to Kearns' emails about the nearly $750,000 the app claimed he owed. Robinhood will be faced not only with this suit, but 90 others filed against them for funds not issued during the GameStop fiasco.
Do you believe your lack of candor with your customers might have contributed to the wild speculation and confusion that resulted in the aftermath of your trading restrictions.
The stock market and its fragility has always been well known, but with the increase of social media and the influence of tech superstars, time will only tell on how the markets will be looked at in the years to come. Reporting for Chapman News, I'm Natalie Tasha Thompson.
Thanks, Natalie Tasha. The House committee will continue to look into the potential Securities and Exchange Commission violations that Robinhood accrued during the GameStop halt. In Rochester, New York, no charges will be brought against police officers involved in the death of Daniel Prude. The 41-year-old died after police put a hood over his head and held him to the ground, suffocating him. The U.S. Attorney Office of Western New York will be reviewing the case. When we come back, an update on Tiger Woods' recovery after his major car crash and the weekend's sunny forecast.
Today I'm going to talk to you about physics. Come on in, girls. Let's go. This is the first rocket to get humans to Mars. Really tall. I'm a rocket structural engineer, designing and building parts of the rocket. You are the generation that will be stepping foot on Mars. Do I have a group of astronauts on my hands? Yes. You can become a rocket scientist or whatever else you want to be.
Head coach of the 2012 U.S. Women's Olympic Gymnastics team, John Geddert, committed suicide yesterday. His body found at a rest stop along Interstate 96 in Michigan. The 63-year-old faced over 24 charges for coercing girls to train at his Michigan gym turned human trafficking site. Geddert had ties to infamous Olympic sports doctor Larry Nassar, who is now in prison for sexually abusing athletes. Horrifying news this week after golf legend Tiger Woods was in a major car accident in LA. With more on Woods and your sports updates is Brennan Corrigan. Brennan?
Hello, my name is Brennan Corrigan and welcome back to another semester of the best campus sports show. Tiger Woods was involved in a serious car accident early Tuesday morning in Rancho Palos Verdes that required him to be extracted from his vehicle using a crowbar and an axe, according to ESPN. The 45-year-old decorated golfer suffered major injuries to both legs and was flown to the Harbor UCLA Medical Center, undergoing surgery that afternoon. Woods' injuries are severe but non-life-threatening. Woods is now awake, responsive, and recovering in his hospital room after having a rod inserted into his right tibia during surgery to stabilize fractures. Screws and pins were also used to stabilize injuries to his foot and ankle. The cause of Tuesday's crash is still under investigation, yet there have been no reports released of Woods driving impaired. The Chapman University golf teams are set to launch their 2021 season today as both the men's and women's team tee off at the first conference golf competition of the year. The tournament will take place at Olivas Links in Ventura, California this weekend, and it will be the first time a Chapman Panther has competed in an athletic competition in 352 days since the pandemic seized all sports activities last March. Senior Jack Clendenning says he is looking forward to getting back out on the course.
Personally, I'm just excited. It's been a while for me since I played a competitive tournament.
Junior golfer Sydney Damasio says there are guidelines and tests that she and her teammates have to abide by in order to play this spring.
We get weekly COVID tested, and so we know that all of us are cleared, and in order to travel, we have to be cleared as well. So I think that we've been doing, and on the buses, we wear masks the whole time. So I think that we've been very safe.
The Panthers staff, coaches, and student athletes will continue to follow the CU Safely Back plan, along with health and safety protocols set by the NCAA, the SCIAC Conference, and the state of California in order to remain safe during competition. And finally, what's March without the madness? The NCAA recently announced that it will allow a limited number of fans at every round of this year's men's Division I basketball tournament. The tournament is set to take place at different stadiums throughout Indiana to prevent the spread of COVID-19. Capacity will be limited to 25% while fans, participants, staff, and family members are all required to practice physical distancing and wear masks. NCAA Senior Vice President of Basketball Dan Gavin said, "This year's tournament will be like no other, and while we know it won't be the same for anyone, we are looking forward to providing a memorable experience for the student athletes, coaches, and fans at a once-in-a-lifetime tournament." That's all for today on the Best Campus Sports Show. I'm Brennan Corrigan, Now over to you, Ned, for our weather update. I heard it's out of this world.
Thanks, Brennan. NASA has successfully landed the Perseverance rover on Mars and has started releasing photos and videos of the landing. In these videos, we can see the parachute deploy, the heat shield disconnect, and the sky crane lowering Perseverance to the ground. Yes, for those curious, the sky crane is a sort of jet-powered crane that lowers the Perseverance rover onto the Martian floor. Looking back to Earth now, here's our national weather forecast. In New York City, it'll be 45 degrees and partially cloudy. And in Miami, Florida, it'll also be partially cloudy, but 80 degrees. In Chicago, Illinois, it'll be a little more cloudy, but definitely still partial at 42 degrees. And in Minneapolis, Minnesota, it'll be fully cloudy and 39 degrees. In Austin, Texas, they'll get some rain in comparison to the snow they've been getting, and it'll be 56 degrees. In Santa Fe and Colorado, it'll be very sunny at 50 degrees and 40 degrees respectively. And in Cheyenne, Wyoming, it'll be 33 degrees and cloudy. In San Francisco, it'll be a nice 62 degrees and sunny. And in Seattle, Washington, it'll be a little colder at 48 degrees and partially cloudy. Now looking to our Orange County forecast, it'll be 71 degrees in Westminster, 73 degrees in Orange, 70 degrees in Newport Beach and Irvine. Heading south, it'll be 72 degrees in Mission Viejo, 68 in Laguna Beach, and a cool 66 in San Clemente. Here's our 7-day forecast for Orange. On Friday and Saturday, it'll be 74 degrees, cooling down to 71 degrees on Sunday. On Monday, we'll get some clouds and it'll be 70 degrees. Those clouds will continue out through the rest of the week, whereas Tuesday and Wednesday will both be 67 degrees. On Thursday, things should warm up a little bit to 70 degrees, but you might want to expect a little bit of rain. Here's the rest of our Southern California forecast. In Santa Barbara, it'll be 71 degrees. In Los Angeles, 75. Moving down to Anaheim, it'll be 74 degrees and 69 degrees in Oceanside. San Diego will be 70 degrees, and the Avalon Islands will be 67. Moving inland more, Big Bear should be a much colder 56 degrees compared to Palm Springs' very hot 81 degrees.
Sweatpants are in style this year in true pandemic fashion. We'll give you a breakdown of New York Fashion Week after the break.
The black truck? Hey, Christina from accounting.
Yeah, hi.
Hey, I used to date a girl named Christina.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and then she dumped me for my best friend. You want to see some photos of them that I took?
I don't.
I thought we talked about this, buddy.
Buzz and overshared again?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm gonna call a car.
That's a smart idea.
So, yeah, I know, that's why I did it.
Hey, you're gonna get back to the top of the mountain.
Does that mean I'm gonna get back with Christina?
No.
Oh.
No.
I don't know about you, but I've been wearing sweatpants since last March. Turns out I'm really in style. Ariana Benitez has more on styles and spectacles at this year's New York Fashion Week.
Hoodies, joggers, and t-shirts take over New York Fashion Week as the show debuts designers and models both online and in person. Casual is the new elegant as the runway's overrun by sweatpants, shirts, and masks. COVID-19 is affecting what designers are creating for the crazy times we live in. Several designers have done their shows on runways with a socially distant audience, while other designers have streamed their entire collections online. Among the biggest surprises of the week is Ella Emhoff, Vice President Kamala Harris's stepdaughter, who made her first runway appearance.
It was definitely, I have to say, I was a little nervous.
Were you nervous? I was wondering if you were nervous. You're a champ. Got it on the first take. Other people, it took a kind of minute for them to kind of get. The walk was major.
And fashion returns to nature in Mara Bloom's line, Blue Mara, which is made entirely of wood and brass accessories. Actress Uzo Aduba is featured as the voice of their Fall 2021 video.
Returning to the world empty-handed, one's inner jewels never disperse.
The social media sensation Pizza Slime also makes their debut online, featuring designer hoodies, joggers, and more. Another loungewear surprise is Lost in the Sand by Los Angeles-based designer Doni Namias, bringing a new style to casual menswear. Epimonia by designer Mohammed Malim uses refugee life jackets to make casual clothing and accessories.
That life jacket is a symbol of hope, dream, passion, and that's the symbolic of how they
go through so many challenges and they persevere on their journey.
Fashion Week veteran Jason Wu does a socially distanced in-person show. All of the proceeds from Wu's masks will go to New Yorkers in need. The shows continue until the end of March. Stay tuned for more trend updates. This is Ariana Benitez for Chapman News.
Thanks, Ariana. I'm glad to know sweatpants are the new sundress. And in other entertainment news, Lady Gaga's dog walker was shot before her 2 dogs were stolen. With more updates is Shambhalin Fairley.
Hello, my name is Shambhalin Fairley, and I'm here with this week's entertainment report. Lady Gaga's dog walker was shot Wednesday night by thieves who then stole 2 of her 3 dogs. Gaga is in Rome on a film set and was extremely upset upon hearing the news, going so far as to offer $500,000 in exchange for the return of her dogs. The dog walker was taken to the hospital and is expected to fully recover. The 78th Golden Globes are coming up this Sunday and will be hosted remotely by Tina Fey in New York and Amy Poehler in LA. Up for Best Picture Drama are The Father, Nomadland, Mank, Promising Young Woman, and finally, The Trial of the Chicago 7. However, the Golden Globes has had a rough year after an LA Times investigative report revealed a lack of diversity in the committee that selects the nominees. The investigation also showed that out of 87 participants, the committee currently has no black members. And further criticism for failing to nominate several highly acclaimed black-led films like Da 5 Bloods and Judas and the Black Messiah. On the other hand, Emily in Paris is up for 2 nominations this year despite performing poorly on websites like Rotten Tomatoes. Raising even more brows, the LA Times reported that around 30 of the selection committee members had flown out to join the set while it was being filmed. Many critics feel that other shows are much stronger contenders, like I May Destroy You, which received 0 nominations this year. Emily in Paris showrunner Deborah Kopeikin even agreed, stating, I May Destroy You deserved a Golden Globe nomination. Sia's film Music is also under fire. The film tells a story of a recovering addict who abruptly becomes the sole guardian of her autistic younger sister, who is played by actress and dancer Maddie Ziegler, who also is an autistic herself. Disability rights advocates charge that the film stereotypes autism. These groups are concerned that Sia's film could harm the disabled communities. And now, history in the music world. The Daft Punk duo has just announced their split after almost 30 years together in their newest video titled Epilogue. The video shows both artists, Thomas Bangalter and Guy Manuel de Homem Christo, who have hidden their features under helmets during their career, meeting in a remote desert. The video ends with one of the members exploding into dust and symbolizes the end of an era, displaying the years 1993 to 2021. Daft Punk has received a total of 6 Grammys over the years and has released several global hits like One More Time and Get Lucky. You may need a shot of tequila after this next story. Some people are accusing Kendall Jenner of appropriating Mexican culture after she announced her new brand of tequila called 818. The dilemma: should a non-Mexican be making a profit off a product that originated in Mexico and is a large part of its culture and economy? Others have come to Jenner's defense, citing several other celebrities like Dwayne Johnson and George Clooney, who have also released their own tequila brands. Jenner and the rest of her family have been condemned various times for what's been called culturally and racially insensitive projects. And that's all we have for entertainment today, folks. I'm Shambhalin Fairley for Chapman News. Back to you, Melissa.
Have you purchased any Girl Scout cookies lately? Nick Ratton has more on a local Orange County troop that looks less at the money and more on the bonds they build.
It's Girl Scout season, and while the pandemic has made finding your favorites just a tad bit harder, a special troop in Orange County with a unique cause has got you covered. Founded in 2009, Troop 1082 operates out of the Orange County Rescue Mission, a transitional shelter for families experiencing homelessness. The girls who live at the shelter earn badges, sell cookies, and go on local trips, all while applying themselves to the Girl Scout mission of building courage, character, and confidence. It's a full circle moment for troop leader Erin Murphy, who leads the program with her mother.
So I've been a Girl Scout my whole life since I was in kindergarten, and I was in Girl Scouts until I graduated from high school. So when I graduated from college, I co-founded this troop at the rescue mission, and in the years since, we have served more than 150 girls.
Though founding the first shelter troop in Orange County did not come easy, seeing the Scouts go into themselves has made it all worthwhile for Murphy. She shares how the Girl Scouts have given her troop members more confidence and leadership skills to reach their full potential.
Girl Scouts provides our girls with a safe space, which is particularly important because all of our girls have experienced some trauma in their young lives. Their faces light up when they make their first sale.
And while you might not realize it while chowing down, Thin Mints carry more than just the flavor.
Our girls love selling Girl Scout cookies, and they really learn a lot of confidence in themselves by selling cookies.
This confidence can be seen firsthand through Sierra, the first shelter troop member granted the Girl Scouts' highest honor, the Gold Award.
She made a short film combating stereotypes about homelessness. So she interviewed people and on their experiences with homelessness, and she is going to show it to school districts as a training material to help schools learn how to interact and work with and support homeless children and students and their families.
To directly support Troop 1082, you can email elainegirlscouts@gmail.com or use the following link for local delivery. And yes, that does include Chapman University. Back to you, Melissa.
Hey Nick, be sure to send me some of those Thin Mints. I'm really craving some right now in Taipei. While I wait for those to get here, be sure to check out our social media pages at Chapman News and our YouTube page at chapmannews.tv. I'm Melissa Cho, and we'll see you next week.